My name's Jon Surtees. I'm lucky to be joined here at the Kia Oval by Mark Church, Wisden Cricket Podcast own Yaz Rana, and Surrey legend Kirstie White. We're sat here in the early days of December 2025, and we will be discussing the list of the top 25 Surrey players of the 21st century that has been created by some of the great brains of the last 25 years. Some people who've watched an awful lot of Surrey cricket in the last 25 years. The whole thing is a discussion piece. We want everyone to let us know what they think. I think there's going to be some hot takes coming up on this as well, so plenty for you to disagree with. Such is the beauty of the podcast format. So yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy this over the next few episodes. Follow along with us as we reveal the top 25 Surrey men's cricketers of the last 25 years, and then also the top 10 Surrey women's cricketers as well coming up. But before we start, I just want to let everyone know Surrey 2026 membership now available. You can get tickets. If you're a member, you get tickets for every day of Surrey cricket next season. The County Championship, the men's and women's T20 Blast, the One Day Cup. Every day of Surrey cricket, you get tickets. It will be an absolutely amazing year. County Championship, Surrey want to get that back. Defending the Vitality Blast in the women's competition, T20 Blast, all about the big nights out there in the summer evenings. Just Surrey membership, one of the best sporting products in London. Visit kiaoval.com/membership for all the details. On to the 25. Okay, so the 25. We start at number 25, the 25th best Surrey player of the 21st century. I'm going to start with Yaz on this one. Yaz, the 25th best Surrey player of the 21st century is Zafar Ansari.
It is, and it's one of my favourite inclusions on the list. So, confession time. Zafar Ansari is 4-ish years older than me, and he was someone that I was aware of before he started playing for Surrey. And a lot of my mates who I played cricket with as a kid, they knew him relatively well. So we turned up for one of his first games with T-shirts with one letter of his first name on each of our shirts. So I was invested in Zafar's career.
Which letter did you have?
Early on. I was F.
Nice.
Right in the middle. I was invested in his career from day one. And I really liked him as a player. He impressed on TV in a T20 game against Essex. I think that might have been his debut. And I think with anyone who can make such a good fist of being both an opening batter and Surrey's lead spinner, takes a lot of doing. Obviously ends up playing for England. And I've got a soft spot, and there are a few players that we'll come to who this also applies to. I have a soft spot for the players who were pivotal for Surrey in the years where things weren't going that well. Mm-hmm. And Zafar was a key part of the team that gets promotion up to Division 1 and sees them become a force. He wasn't there when they win the first title in 2018, but he was a big part of that core that ended up winning a lot. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more with all of that. Churchy, your thoughts on Zafar?
Just a very, very fine cricketer. His cricket brain as well. I think the thing with Zafar was, very early on, people were talking about Zafar as being a future Surrey captain.
Yeah.
I think his cricket, we all know about his intelligence as a man, but his cricketing intelligence was exceptional. I think he was very versatile. As Yaz was saying, he opened the batting for Surrey in Championship cricket alongside Rory Burns. His left arm spin was very good. He was a terrific fielder. I think more people got an idea of Zafar's talent from seeing him in T20 cricket as well. I think, Zafar could come in that middle order and knock the ball out the park and then bowl 4 very tidy overs of left arm spin. And I think also that, the decision that Zafar made after he had got in the England setup and went away and came back and thought to himself, I'm never going to go any higher than that. I could stick around at Surrey for a few more years and pick up some money, but actually I've got other things that I want to go and do, and I think that's the mark of Zafar. So exceptional cricketer, and I think I always thought of Zafar in that 2018 Championship winning side, even though obviously he wasn't there and had retired.
Yeah,
he would have been a massive part of that. So just a very, very good cricketer and a very, very good man.
Yeah, and an absolute one of one. I think that's the thing with Zafar. He's an absolute one of one. For me, one of the things I don't think you've mentioned, and Kirstie, I'll come to you on this in a second as well, is his fielding was exceptional. His commitment in the field. That I'll always remember the moment he potentially unwisely flung himself shoulder and head first into the ad board. I think on day one, wasn't it, of a championship game, and did an injury that I think would have done a Tour de France rider proud in terms of the collarbone damage that he received. But he just refused to let that ball go, and I thought for me that was spoke a lot, in one moment about his attitude and his personality. Yeah, Kirstie, your thoughts on Zafar? You'd have been around at the club at the same time as him as well.
Yeah, I think that point for me is where I was going to go as well. Is he's given so much to the club in terms of actually his commitment on the field with the ball and with the bat, and continues to be a part of the general committee. He's still got a foot in the door and cares so passionately about the club that actually, there have been some really huge names that have played for Surrey and continue to play for Surrey, but actually Zafar Ansari is kind of he's royalty here at the Oval, and actually if this was a best blokes of Surrey, he'd probably be at the top of the list. He definitely wouldn't be down at 25. So I think he's the kind of player that like we said, he's supported Surrey in getting back up into Div 1, and actually with that and without him and without his his dominance with bat and ball and his commitment, that actually Surrey wouldn't be where they are now.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, best. Maybe that's the sequel for the podcast. Best blokes. We'll do the same thing. An Irish friend of mine told me the other day that a word I thought was genderised isn't genderised in Ireland. So I'm going to say best blokes is in this context is a non-genderised word. Number 24. We're moving through the list. Number 24. We have a player who would have taken the field with Zafar Ansari on numerous occasions, but the difference is still takes the field now for Surrey to this day. Number 24, we have Tom Curran. Tom Curran, number 24 in the 25 best players, Surrey players of the 21st century. Churchy, Tom Curran, what do you make of TC?
I remember when he first came into the Surrey side with Graham Ford in charge, and he just looked an exceptional talent.
There was that sort of almost like the word like Curran was like in the wind, wasn't it? Surrey,
I
who's
think
the Currans?
The Currans are coming. We'll probably talk about this a bit later as well, but with his batting, he always looked a talent with the bat, but it was with the ball that he really, everybody sat up and took notes straight away with TC. And then, of course, his career's taken an interesting path, really, because he sort of went off on a tangent of the shorter form. But I think, as we all know, he is still an incredibly talented cricketer in red ball cricket. And obviously, he's played Test match cricket for England. He's played in an Ashes series for England. But I think it was just he had exceptional skills at a very early age. And I think the way his career has gone, he sort of marks out as the modern day cricketer, I think. And the way he's gone off to franchise cricket, comes back. But as I say, hugely talented cricketer, hugely in all forms of the game. And I think we saw that talent when he came back for one game in 2022 at Northampton, and he scored his maiden first-class 100, but in a manner that was exceptional. He just took the game away from Northants. And again, you sat there and you thought, he still, in terms of red ball cricket, he's still got everything. And I hope that, my personal thoughts with TC is I hope actually that at some point he'll have done everything he wants to have done in the shorter format, and he will come back and play a lot more red ball cricket for Surrey, because I think he can have a massive impact in that form of the game. But exceptionally talented, slightly different to his brother, but just a very, very fine all-round cricketer.
I've always thought of him as someone who's a very responsible cricketer. He's someone who's excelled with both bat and ball in both white and red ball cricket. for Surrey. And when I talk about his responsibilities as a cricketer, it's performing that role of a senior player from a very young age. So he's only 30, but he's been around forever.
Yeah.
And you go back to the year they get promoted, he's a 20-year-old topping the wicket-taking charts, 76 wickets at 23. To do that as a 20-year-old is quite something.
76 wickets at 23, age 20. Yeah, that really is something. The other thing I was going to say, Churchy, as well, is that innings at Northants that you talked about. There's always something very, very special about the Currans playing Northants as well, because of the history of their dad and Kevin, and for him to do that innings at Northants as well, I think really, it was a special innings anyway, but really, had the hairs on the back of my neck standing up, watching him do that. Kirstie, what are your memories of memories? He's still playing, where do you give us some chat on TC?
Yeah, I think for me, he's the kind of player that Surrey could be 3-4 wickets down and it's all kind of falling apart, but you look down the batting lineup and you see Tom Curran still to come and you think, in TC we trust. He is a stalwart for Surrey. You know what you're going to get with him. Not every performance is the same, but he's going to give 100% in every kind of element of the game. And I think, he's a player that's so aware of his body, and he's had a few unfortunate injuries that have sidelined him a few times. And actually, without those, would he still be playing the longer format of the game? Would he have, decided to become a bit more of a white ball specialist? In this new Bazball era of Test cricket, he'd be a prime candidate to be in there. We talk about that innings at Northants, and that really was where Bazball was just starting to pick up and move into this new era of Test cricket. So, while he is that unbelievable white ball specialist, he certainly will just throw himself into the game, and I'm sure given any opportunity he would throw himself into a 4-day format, 5-day format, and you know exactly what you're going to get from him. He's going to take wickets and he's going to score runs.
Well, I want to bring in number 23 at this point now, because number 23 on the list, I think, is a player who has a lot in common with Tom Curran. I think a player that Tom Curran, has seen as a mentor for different parts of his career, firstly on the field and now off the field, and also someone who is known as a white ball specialist, but also I think someone whose inclusion on this list is at least partially down to the incredible season they had with the red ball in 2018. So number 23 on the list is Jade Dernbach, Jade Winston Dernbach, one of the great men of Surrey County Cricket Club in the last 15-20 years. Cut him, he bleeds brown, right? Really is. The passion he has for this place is absolutely extraordinary. Yaz, I guess another player who you might have enjoyed first from the stands and then from the press box.
Yeah, I think with Dernbach, it's almost a cliche to say it, but he's a genuine trailblazer. He was playing a form of white ball cricket long before the rest of the world realised what he was doing, basically. I know a lot of people used to say lazily, oh, look at his economy rate, it's on the high side. But this was way before people realised that there was real merit in having someone who is a death specialist. And the reason why his economy was on the high side was because he bowled at the death, which is the hardest period, and he was really good at it. That's what he's most well known for, but I know Churchy is a big fan of his work in 2018 in particular. He was a really good red ball player as well, and his effect, like a lot of the players we're going to talk about on the list, goes beyond his contributions on the pitch.
Yeah, he was so ahead of his time as well, because when he was coming in that period where he was bowling at the top, he was either bowling at the top of the innings or at the bottom of the innings in T20. And I remember him, having discussions about, no, these aren't the numbers that I'm looking at. These aren't, I'm looking at numbers like strike rate. And, he had all these really interesting ideas that were way ahead of their time about how bowlers who bowled in power play overs or the death of T20 games, how the stats that you should be looking at for those bowlers, not the traditional stats. And I think he saw how that format was evolving, very, very clearly when a lot of other people didn't, and you were still looking at some more traditional stats which weren't maybe telling the full picture of a T20 player. Churchy, yeah.
What I would say is, in terms of white ball cricket, always turned up for the dirty overs, never shirked that responsibility. Won more games for Surrey at the back end of T20s and one-day games. And with the red ball as well, I think you've got to remember a lot of his career was with a Surrey attack that it didn't have much of a cutting edge to it at times, and he was still taking wickets with the red ball. And I think what was so good about 2018 was for anybody who knows about Surrey, that everybody was delighted for Jade, but also he sort of formed. He was so experienced that he worked out. Listen, I've got the likes of Morkel and I've got the likes of Clark running in and taking wickets and Curran, etc. What my job here is take the new ball, run in, hit a length, hit a line, shut down one end and let them do what they do from the other. And I remember chatting with Mornay about that, and he said, "Listen, a lot of my wickets are thanks to Jade. That what the job that Jade has done for me and the rest of the team has been unbelievable." So, and I think you see that now in his coaching role. He is an exceptionally good bowling coach as well, because, as Yaz said, he was the one that came up with those skills, and now he's moving those skills on to another generation of players. So. Yeah, Jade Dernbach, his career for Surrey was exceptional, I think, and especially in the white ball, people look at that, but he was a damn good bowler with the red ball as well.
Yeah, that game, that Surrey-Essex game in 2018, the last game of the season in 2018, it's one of the most memorable games of the last 25 years. But yeah, Jade and Ricky Clark walking off together after the season that they'd both collectively produced was a hell of a moment, Kirstie, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think what's important to remember here is he made his debut when he was 17, and he's had an 18-year career at Surrey. And with that, he's become a master of his craft. And, as you spoke about him being a mentor for so many bowlers, and he takes that role so seriously. Even, he had a stint with the Oval Invincibles in the summer as a bowling coach in 2022, I think it was. And, Shabnam Ismail and Marizan Kapp were learning from Jade Dernbach, and, just watching those bowlers actually just have a conversation in the middle about how they're going to go about their business and just what he can contribute to the game, and the way that, you look at Tom Curran, Sam Curran, all of these young bowlers that have come through, and how he is actually just shaping their game just through his experience, knowing exactly where they've come from. And the golden thread that weaves all the way through this is that these are young players that have come through from the age of 17 through Surrey's youth system, and that's going to, we'll see that interleave throughout the entire podcast series that we do here.
Yeah, I'd love to see the amount of edge in a conversation between Jade Dernbach and Marizan Kapp. That would be that's a conversation I'd like to.
Haven't got time here, but we'll do another podcast about Jade's batting as well.
Absolutely, I think there's a 2-hour documentary film to be made about Jade's batting. It's wonderful. I'm going to take the next two together, I think, because I think they're two players that have an awful lot in common. They made their debuts, I think, in the same year, 2018, and they are both. Neither of them are at the Oval at the moment, at the Kia Oval at the moment, because they're both in Australia. They're both in Brisbane right now, looking at some pink balls, and just because we have a number 22, Will Jacks, and at number 21, Jamie Smith. Kirstie, I'm going to come to you first on this. Will Jackson, Jamie Smith, very much at the vanguard of the current Surrey generation.
Yeah, and again, it's that beauty of youth, isn't it? They burst onto the scene, and didn't really care who their opponents were. They just were not afraid to just go out and bat the way that they batted, and just stayed true to themselves from the moment they made their debut to now. They're such powerhouses. They came through the system, young, slight lads, tall, long levers, now, coming into their prime and meat on the bones. But ultimately, their game hasn't changed, their intent hasn't changed. And they're just considerable batting units. Obviously, Jamie Smith with the gloves at the moment, in the Test series, and hopefully picking up some runs in this game, and Will Jacks again with ball in hand, taking wickets throughout. So they are. You're going to be hard pressed to replace them in any Surrey 11 now, let alone in an England 11.
Yeah, yes, and they're both in the modern sense. They're both dual threat cricketers. Jacksy with his off spin, Jamie with the gloves. They both contribute all over the place.
Well, not just their age, they're similar. When you ask me about both those players at Surrey, they're responsible for two of the best county championship innings I've seen at this ground. Jacks against Essex, but specifically Harmer in the game where he went from 100 to 150 in a heartbeat. And then Jamie Smith here against Warwickshire, early 2024. There's a lot of chat around who may or may not be playing for England very soon. And I remember watching that innings and thinking, you are too good for this level. And seeing him develop as well, because he's assured in the England side now, 2022 county championship season, obviously win it. He wasn't necessarily an automatic pick. He didn't play every round of the season. So to watch his transformation in a really short space of time really has been very cool to see. And Jax, again, going back to 2022, averages 54 with the bat, and only Dan Worrell and Jordan Clark bowled more overs than him that season. He was MVP territory, not just for Surrey, but across the whole country. And he doesn't get to play a lot of county championship cricket at the moment because he's really good at the white ball stuff, which limits his opportunities. But when he does get on the park, he's a mighty fine red ball cricketer.
It's a bit of a cliche, I think, but I'm going to use it here. But they're both these players. I would say, Churchy, they're both bar emptiers, aren't they? Like, you're not going to be selling an awful lot of beer whilst if Jamie Smith and Will Jacks are batting together at the crease, because no one's going to want to miss a second. They're just amazing cricketers to watch.
Yeah, and I think with the Will Jacks sort of career path, I think we saw it in 2018 when he made his one-day 100 against Gloucestershire, I think it was, here. And we knew about him, but the way he batted that day, he was sat there and, whoa, this lad's playing shots that are, and hitting balls further than I've seen before. Yeah. I think actually Gareth Batty takes a lot of credit for Will Jacks in the fact that he sat him down 2022 and said, listen, you're going to be my frontline spinner. I'm going to bat you at 6 or 7. And I think it simplified it for him, really. And I think you saw that. And I think with his off-spin in the red ball game, it's still a bit of a work in progress, but it's got all the right attributes. He's tall. He gives it a good old rip. He's a very intelligent cricketer again. With Jamie, I would say there are 2 players that I have seen for the first time, and I've thought to myself, what have we got on our hands here? One would be Pope, and the other would be Jay Smith. And I remember his Surrey debut was in that MCC Surrey game 2019 Abu Dhabi, and he walked out to bat.
So the one you were watching in a sandstorm?
Yes, in a sandstorm.
Yeah.
But he walked out to bat, and I think it was Simon Kerrigan bowling to him. And he took a couple of balls, had a quick look, and then took 2 paces down the pitch and put him straight over the sight screen for 6. And again, it was one of those moments, whoa. And he put on huge runs with Ollie. The other innings I remember from Jamie Smith in terms of red ball was with Surrey's ridiculous run chase of over 500 at Canterbury.
Yeah.
The thing about Jay Smith
that innings is going to come up again in his podcast, isn't it?
He's got all the natural talent in the world, but it's what's between his ears that's the key thing, and he's never anything but that. He is the calmest bloke I have ever met. He is mature beyond his years, and that innings, Surrey chasing down 500, Sibley was doing what Sibley was doing at one end. Jamie Smith walked out and worked out they're going to have a new ball tomorrow morning. I'm going to take as much of this out this afternoon as I can before that new ball turns up. Yeah. And hit 130 odd in no time whatsoever. And they genuinely could not bowl to him. And then the next morning when Folkes and Sibley walked out there, he'd taken out 130 of a total and he'd taken out in such quick time that actually for those two, when the new ball did come around the corner, fine, we'll just take our time with it. We're not in any rush here. So, I think Jay Smith will end up batting 4 for England. I think he will score an awful lot of test match runs for England. And I always had him earmarked as the next Surrey captain. I'm not sure Surrey are going to see a great deal of him now, unfortunately. For me, the key thing with Jamie Smith is what is between his ears.
Yeah, absolutely. Extraordinary cricketer. So that's the end of episode 1. Let me just take you through the reveal so far. Number 25 was Zafar Ansari. 24, Tom Curran. 23 was Jade Dernbach. 22, Will Jacks. 21, Jamie Smith. I mean, they are 5 incredible cricketers to have 20 cricketers that were voted as better Surrey players of the 21st century ahead of them. Do come back, episode 2 coming up soon, where we're going to take you through 20 to number 16. Again, some huge names there, some great conversation. I'll be back, Churchy will be back, Yaz will be back, Kirstie will be back as well. Don't forget, Surrey membership available for 2026, kiaoval.com/membership. If you haven't joined, if you haven't renewed, get that done. It's going to be an amazing season next year. kiaoval.com/membership. My name's Jon Surtees, brought to you by I'll do that again. My name is Jon Surtees, brought to you by Surrey County Cricket Club. This was the 25.